Welcome to the Adventures in Alchemy podcast, where we share tips, techniques, and true stories to support you in using the law of attraction and alchemy to create magic and live the life of your dreams. Here's your host, the founder of dailyalchemy.com, Michelle Martin Dobbins.
Hi there, it's Michelle Martin Dobbins, and welcome to the Adventures in Alchemy podcast for today. And today I want to talk to you a little bit about getting signs that you're on the right track. One of my favorite authors, Pam Grout, who has the E squared and E cubed books with some really fabulous experiments. You should definitely check them out if you haven't already. One of hers is just asking for a sign as an experiment. And I did that in there, and I had a really fabulous experience with it that I've written about, and it was shared on the Good Vibe blog too, about asking to see a white feather. And after I went that day with my family on a trip to Columbia, South Carolina, and we were in this park, and I didn't see any white feathers, which might be kind of odd for being out there in nature and stuff, but I actually wasn't really thinking about it. But on our way home, we got caught in traffic, and traffic wasn't moving on the interstate. And I happened to look over, and there were thousands and thousands of white feathers all along the side of the highway. I don't know if like a featherbed truck lost something or what happened, but there was so many. And we kept driving along for 5-10 miles. I don't know how long, but while we're moving at a very slow rate, there were just feathers and feathers and feathers. And I was just laughing because, there had to be hundreds of thousands of them. So I asked to see a white feather, and Universe like, you want a white feather? Here you go, dear. More than you can count. Lovely. And then when we got back home and I walked up to our door to open it and go in, on our doormat in our entryway, there was one single little white feather laying there. So it was a really, really fun answer to asking for a sign. And I find that a lot of times the universe is constantly sending us signs and little supports, and you have to look for it though. And if you're not on the lookout, you may miss them. And when you're looking out for them and you're thanking the universe for sending them and you're appreciating them, you're going to end up getting more of them. And I had an experience just a few days ago. I went to Roper Mountain Science Center with my family, my kidlets anyway, for homeschool day. And that morning I was feeling a lot of anxiety, it was strange for me. I used to be anxiety all day long, every day, but it's not a big part of my life anymore. And if it comes, I try to pay attention to it, and feel it and not resist it. So I had done my meditation and really sunk into the feeling in my body, but it was still there. And I was feeling kind of, like, I don't know what, I just feel not on the right path, not like things are going in the right direction, and didn't feel like I was getting completed things I wanted to complete. So I think that's where the anxiety was coming from. So I asked Universe to send me a sign that I'm on the right path and that things are getting better every day. So we go to Roper Mountain Science Center, and as we're going through the center, I'm trying to be aware of signs, and I see a white feather, one of my favorite signs. So I walk up in my path. There was a white feather on the trail, and that was fun. And then we went to the lake or pond, I guess, and there were lily pads and the water lilies there. And that flower to me symbolizes spiritual growth, peace, harmony, just has a special meaning to me. So seeing that was another sign. And then we went to the schoolhouse for this 1800 schoolhouse demonstration, and the teacher was conducting a class, and she started out with some very simple spelling words, cat, dog, and she's like, okay, we're going to bump it up a notch. And here's your spelling word, relax. I'm like, it had just kind of hit me like, oh, that's for me. I'm stressing too much about what's going on. I'm like, okay, relax. A very good word for me. And then she's like, who has another word, another fabulous, well, I don't think she said fabulous, but another spelling word that we can do. And the little boy stood up and said, magnificent, which I felt was also a sign for me that, if I relax, everything is magnificent. It all just kind of felt really like it was for me. I was being spoken to directly. And I don't know if I hadn't been paying attention, hadn't been looking for that, I don't know if those words would have been there as the spelling words, but I found that it very inspiring that it was, and I was glad I was looking out for it. And then before we left, I saw a new exhibit that I hadn't seen there, probably been there forever, but it was a great blue heron, and that is one of my totem animals that I really connect with, and it speaks to me. And so I snapped a little picture of it and the water lily and the feather and kind of made them up into a little photo collage to remind me that the universe is always sending me signs, and it always has my back, and it always has your back too. So I would invite you to try this little experiment anytime. Ask for a sign and see what happens. And I would love to hear what happens. So let me know. Send me an email, send me a message on my Facebook page. Go to dailyalchemy.com and you can get to my Facebook, my Twitter, my email, everything from there up in the right-hand corner. And I would also love it if you went by Stitcher or iTunes, wherever you're listening, and left me a review and a rating and let me know how I'm doing. I'm definitely working on improving the audio quality and learning more about that as I go along. But I just felt like the best thing to do was dive in and learn it as I go. And hopefully it's good enough that you guys can hear and get the tips and techniques. And that's what's important. So I would love to know if you're enjoying the podcast and if you have anything that you would like me to talk about, any questions you would like answered in the future podcasts. Have a wonderful day. Make it a magical one. Namaste.
Thanks for listening to the Adventures in Alchemy podcast. Connect with me on thedailyalchemy.com or Facebook at facebook.com/Michelle Dobbins, author. Join us next time for even more magical life tips.